back to the O Show. We are going to be talking about XRP, all of the news, all of the drama, and we're also going to be talking about what happened with the Federal Reserve yesterday, or excuse me, with the Fed, with the FOMC meeting. What happened, what is going on, and what we can expect with this type of market. And I'm going to drop a video for you guys around 2 p.m. PST regarding my thoughts about altcoin season. So make sure you guys watch that too. I'm WendyO. I talk everything crypto every single day. Make sure you like this video, comment, and subscribe with all alerts set. We're streaming on TikTok and Twitch and YouTube. And I don't know what's going on with Rumble, but it's not connecting for some reason. But anyways, we are going to get started. We are going to get this party started because it's a lot of fun. Also, it's Thursday. I cannot wait for it to be Friday. I cannot wait for it to be Friday. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like once you become a parent, Rumble's working? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Stray Dog, for confirming. On my side, it says that it's still sending data, but shout out to my Rumble babe. Shout out to TikTok and YouTube and all of you wonderful people. I'm so excited to be streaming with you guys today because it's lots of fun, a lot of fun stuff. But anyways, we got a lot to cover today. And again, what I was saying about being a parent, first off, it's freaking cold in my house. But when you're a parent, it's like super, super exciting, like for Friday, like the most exciting thing ever. Like we have this whole, shout out to BMO, we have this whole thing planned tomorrow. I can't wait. But yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And there's going to be lots of stuff happening. I also have to give a shout out to my YouTube babes, all the channel members. Good morning to Mr. D, Miss Julie, Mr. R, and the rest of you guys that are watching right now. For some reason, the chat is being kind of weird. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Today, I was going to start with an XRP story. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I do really want to start with what's going on with the Fed, because again, that's going to impact the markets over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. This is what crypto bubbles looks like. This is on the daily. COV is up, a bonk is up, cake is about 3%. We got anywhere between 2 and 8% gains across the board. Now, I do want to discuss what's going on with the Fed first, because again, the Fed impacts the entire market. So from CNBC, the rate setting Fed Open Market Committee kept its key borrowing rate targeted in a range between 4.25 and 4.5%. So essentially they're left unchanged. And this has been happening the rates have been the same since December. The FOMC downgraded its collective outlook for economic growth and gave a bump higher to its inflation projection. And they're stating that inflation will continue to increase because of the Trump tariffs. Officials now see the economy is accelerating as just 1.7 pace this year, down 0.4 percentage points from a last projection in December. In addition, the rate decision Fed announced further scaling back of its quantitative tightening program, which is slowly reducing the bonds it holds on its balance sheet. So let's go ahead and talk about this a little. Again, all of these numbers, all of these projections, these are just numbers made up by unelected bureaucrats. That's exactly what it is. That's all it is. It's neither here nor there. So again, they're saying X is happening because of different math equations that they come up with, different factors, that they want to multiply, divide, whatever it is. So they just pull stuff out of their hats. That's just my personal opinion of it. The reason being is because they have different initiatives. So as far as with the different things with bonds, etc., they're also going to have to start preparing for a Bitcoin strategic reserve, because again, President Trump signed the executive orders. Not only are we going to be holding on to the crypto that was confiscated from people doing naughty things, but they do want to introduce a plan, and they're still going over that, to essentially accumulate more Bitcoin. And we have some clips from Trump and other people that we're going to play in a little bit. And basically that's going to be done by looking at the current investments, getting rid of some, using some of that capital to acquire Bitcoin. With the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, they want to acquire approximately 1 million, I think it was 1 million Bitcoin, 1 million Bitcoin. And they're going to be doing that by kind of rebalancing things. So again, great, fine, fantastic. But anytime we get announcements on rates, things happen and people lose their minds. Let's go ahead and listen to this clip from Mr. Powell, and then we'll get into we'll do a quick market update, and then we're going to talk about what's happening with Solana and XRP. Primarily the stuff with Solana. Okay, so let's go ahead and we do 1.5 speed, because y'all know I got ADHD and I don't have time to listen to these geriatrics. Also, to you guys, make sure you smash the like, yourmom.com.
How much of it is tariff? So let me say that it is going to be very difficult to have a precise assessment of how much of inflation is coming from tariffs and from other, and that's already the case. You may have seen that.
And it can already be the case. We can't get inflation this fast especially when rates have remained unchanged. We can't get results this fast. And even in the past, they have, Powell's came on and said, we need time to see these happen. So again, it's really just kind of done in their best interest. So again, will tariffs cause inflation? A possibility, a strong possibility, because it's a big change that we're seeing happen in America. But at the same time, I don't think it's really appropriate for them to say it's already started happening when I think the tariffs have only been live for what, a month? But again, what do I know? What do I know?
Goods inflation moved up pretty significantly in the first 2 months of the year. Trying to track that back to actual tariff increases, given what was tariff and what was not, very, very challenging. So some of it, the answer is clearly some of it. A good
I agree with him there. Some of it could be.
part of it is coming from tariffs, but we'll be working, and so will other forecasters, to try to find the best possible.
Other forecasters. So basically, again, it's just a bunch of people that like to make numbers up and put different X factors in and say, hey, we're doing X, Y, and Z. And they like to not include the cost of food or energy or housing, those types of things.
A way to separate non-tariff inflation from tariff inflation.
Non-tariff from tariff inflation. Okay, wonderful. These are the people that we have representing us. Congratulations. Congratulations. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into a quick market update over here, because Bitcoin did react considering the market and the outcome. And again, Bitcoin did pump yesterday. I gave a comment to Forbes. We saw a really nice move up yesterday to about $86,000. And then a correction. And that's probably because of it could be potentially because of the Fed and the announcement. People thought there would be a more bullish announcement, and it's not. Again, also too, President Trump, he spoke at the Blockworks conference. We're going to play that for you guys in a little bit. Because he gave some pretty big updates that it is important to focus on. But again, as far as Bitcoin goes, we're back into this consolidation range between about $85,000 and about $80,000 for this week. So pretty boring stuff. Nothing really, really exciting. And again, I still am kind of a little bit bearish and am anticipating a move down to like $70,000. Taking a look at Ethereum also dropped as well, pretty much the same price action as Bitcoin, almost back into the consolidation range, 19 to 1800. Solana, same price action, except Solana wasn't even able to break out above 136 like Ethereum, and Bitcoin was able to break out of their resistance areas. The next one over here with XRP pumped up based off of the court case essentially ending. It was like 12%, and then it retraced. It back tested on the trend line, so hopefully it will sustain and will continue to go back up. But at the same time, you guys, you got to be patient. You really, really have to be patient. And then again, I'm going to remind you, the fact that XRP pumped all the way from 50 cents to like $3.42, that's almost a 600% gain. You should be very happy because nothing else has really moved that way. But, what do I know? Avalanche is trading about same thing with Avalanche back over here in this lower area. Where the heck is Chainlink? Where's Chainlink? Aave, something I want to buy. It's just kind of consolidating above 160. I want it to get below 160 so I can buy some. Where's Link? That's another thing I want to buy. Link also too wasn't able to break above. Let's just sustain above the key area of resistance, and now we're back below consolidating. So that's kind of what's happening with the crypto markets. But let's go ahead and get into the exciting news. First, the drama, because we can't have no drama about XRP. Why would we? So this is from Charles G. He says, obviously the question remains about the other part of the case, but it's clear current SEC believes XRP passes the Ethereum decentralized test as trading today. Also for the SEC, how does I squared the duo disclosure standard set by Judge Torres? Brad Garlinghouse says there is no Ethereum decentralization test at the SEC. This is fiction. Is there, though? Is there? Let's go ahead and talk about that. So is there a decentralization test over at the SEC with Ethereum? I think internally there was, to an extent, because again, Ethereum was treated a lot differently than XRP. But I'm not taking sides with this one. I'm just commenting on it because why not? But again, stick around. We've got some more bullish stuff coming, so be patient. Also, too, the next little piece of information here. Okay. Well, the reason why we're bringing or Ethereum into this is because the SEC uses the Howey test to argue XRP is a security, but Ethereum was previously deemed not a security. Internal SEC emails from 2018 show uncertainty about Ethereum's classification. So again, that's kind of what they were talking about. Good morning to gorgeous Alexandra. Happy to have you here. Happy to have you here. I love her. She's the best. She shows up every single day for me. What's going on TikTok? You say XRP is going to blow up, but why? I think I'm posting a video at 2 p.m. PST on YouTube, so you should go ahead and watch it. Why didn't XRP pump after the SEC drops the case? They did, 12%. Guys are silly, goofy. TikTok is goofy. Y'all are goofy sometimes. Also, too, big shout out to Sparkwater, a channel member. All right, let's go ahead and get back into it. Make sure y'all smash the like. Make sure you smash the like. So, next. Oh, wait, is this story here? More from Charles. He's fudding the project over here. So basically, this post over here and him are, Brad Garlinghouse did not chime in, but he's talking about Ripple's net worth. So Brad Garlinghouse net worth hits about $10 billion following XRP's price surge. Lack of public financial disclosures from Ripple raises regulatory questions. And in a way, he's right, because again, anytime all these public companies, they operate a specific way and they have to meet disclosures. But again, crypto is still not really regulated in that sense, but it's also very different than a public company. So SEC deems XRP retail trading is decentralized, but Ripple used XRP to build its business. So XRP is kind of like a stock if that is the case, in my opinion. Securities laws may require Ripple to disclose financials due to its business nature. Paul Atkins' SEC confirmation hearings next week could address Ripple's financial transparency. Liz Warren may question action on security compliance laws by Ripple once he is instituted in his confirmation hearing next week. Now, the interesting thing about this is that Ripple was very transparent on the unlocks, and you can see all the unlocks and the selling and whatever's happening on the blockchain. So maybe, I'm playing devil's advocate here, maybe maybe different laws are going to be required for crypto because it's a lot more transparent and you just need to provide blockchain transactions and whatnot. So that's a little bit interesting, I'm not on anybody's side here, but let's go and talk about the exciting news. Okay. New crypto derivatives exchange Binomial has officially launched the first CFTC regulated XRP futures product. Why is this important? Why does this matter? This matters because when Bitcoin and Ethereum needed to get the ETF approval, they had to have a futures first. And once they got the futures, the SEC was essentially forced to approve it, and plus BlackRock too. So BlackRock has not filed for BlackRock hasn't filed for the XRP or Solana or any other ETFs yet, but I think that they will. I think that they will as things continue to mill out. Now, with this being said, we officially have an XRP's futures ETF. And the reason why this launched so quickly is because Binomial actually went to sue the SEC in their battle against Ripple. And then because the case is essentially dismissed, there's still a little negotiating going on, but it's pretty much over for the most part. They went ahead and said, hey, we're going to go ahead and launch this. And it got approved and it's out. It's out. So hopefully this ushers in XRP. So now my prediction was initially, shout out to John, Chicken Bone Broth Gang. I drank it after my workout or during the workout because I got hungry. But now I first thought that Litecoin was going to be the first one to get the spot ETF. But now XRP and Solana both have futures ETFs, and Solana ETFs went live today. Two of them, futures went live today. Yeah, exactly, Crypto Crayon. I agree. It's still up. So I don't know why people are being cuckoo. So this happened with Binomial. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. And then this is according to, this is Mr. Brad Garlinghouse. Basically, let's go ahead and listen to this clip. And we'll talk about Solana. We got to put it at 2 times because the ADHD is too high. It's too high over here.
In the executive order for the digital asset stockpile.
Well, so XRP was named by the president on Truth Social. He posted something saying that there should be other tokens, that there's going to be a Bitcoin strategic reserve and then a crypto stockpile that would include things like XRP.
But days later, the executive order didn't include it. Why was that?
I don't know what specifically was in the executive order. My understanding is there's going to be a Bitcoin strategic reserve. There'll be a crypto stockpile representing other cryptos. And I would expect that will include XRP. Look, at the end of the day, I think the stark contrast is in the Biden administration, we couldn't get a meeting with people at the White House. Now we're welcomed into the White House. And
So the interesting about it is she left out the fact that David Sachs said, I believe it was David Sachs, he said the reason why Trump was talking about like XRP and Solana and all these other coins for the Bitcoin or for this digital asset strategic reserve is because they're some of the top 20 crypto assets, something along those lines. So that's interesting that that wasn't brought up. And again, they're still kind of debating how they want to do a digital asset strategic pile with crypto. As far as we know, it's going to be assets that have been confiscated from people doing naughty things, i.e. Silk Road. But in addition to that, I think once we get the ETFs that go live and there's more traditional financial products, I think that's how they will be added to a digital asset stockpile reserve, something along those lines. I could be wrong, but that's how I see these people moving.
That's just a massive change. I think we want this industry to thrive in the United States. We don't want to push it offshore where you have fewer regulations.
I think the reason I keep pushing you too is because I think now it's widely accepted that this is a pro-crypto administration. But the details, that is what's causing an overhang, the uncertainty of the details. So to the extent you have confidence, right, about XRP being in that stockpile or otherwise getting more support for an ETF, for example, where does that confidence come from and what kind of timeline do you see it happening on?
So I have immense confidence on the ETF. I think there's 11 different filings pending with the SEC to launch ETFs from everybody from Bitwise to Franklin Templeton and a whole bunch of people in between. I think those will be live in the second half of this year. We have seen.
Remember when I told you guys to be very patient, be very, very, very patient because Q1 and Q2 of 2025 will be immensely volatile because we're still going to kind of get settled in with this brand new crypto administration. And we had none other than Brad Garlinghouse just confirm exactly what I've been talking about at the end of the second half of the year.
Outside the United States, you have live ETPs. And at a time when a lot of outflows are exiting some of the crypto ETFs, you're seeing inflows into XRP. And I think that's because you had this false negative pressure from the SEC, this kind of an exogenous hand holding things down that's now being released. And that's great for the market. That's great for builders within the XRP ecosystem globally.
One more on the stockpile. How much XRP would be in it? Where does it come from?
Well, my understanding of what I read about I think there are some questions and the devil may be in the details as Treasury implements some of this.
Absolutely in the detail.
Only thing I'm going to say here with Brad Garlinghouse is he knows a lot more than he's letting up to be because he's actually meeting with people and pushing different initiatives, but he's not going to say it because he's a businessman. He's got a poker face.
But my understanding is that the stockpile will be represented by seized other cryptos other than Bitcoin that then will be in that stockpile. So to the extent that various law enforcement agencies have seized cryptos, which would include XRP, that those would go into the stockpile in addition to the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. That's my.
Okay, so now he's backpedaling a little bit, but either way, we will see what happens. We will see what happens. Shout out to Alexandria, ADH gang, unite, baby. Woo! My hair's like cuckoo. I did the thing. The heatless roller thingies. And it just was like, it didn't do. I had to curl the hair too. I don't know what the heck is happening here. I got a kink in the hair. I don't like it. Anyways, back to the news. Okay, so this next story over here. This is Solana Futures. Solana Futures to grow institutional adoption despite limited inflows. It just launched. And this is from Masari. So Solana Futures to grow institutional adoption despite limited inflows. The approval of the first spot Solana ETF may be the next logical step after the debut, and the industry's watching. So it is officially live. It is officially live today. As far as I know, there's the ETF filing. Let me go ahead and pull up the little noti McNoties. Okay. So 2 Solana Futures ETFs launching today by Volatility Shares. First ever Solana Future ETFs. Sols, hashtag SOLZ, which are standard futures, and hashtag SOLT. SOLT, 2 times futures leverage. And again, they're saying these could potentially pave the way for a spot Solana ETF. And the SEC has previously indicated it prefers an established futures market before approving a spot. So that's coming today. And in quotes over here, an analyst told Cointelegraph the launch of the first Solana ETPs in the U.S. could significantly boost Solana's market position by increasing demand and liquidity for Solana, potentially narrowing the gap with the Ethereum market cap. Also, in addition to that, we've had analysts say that the ETFs could bring in $8 billion per crypto project, which would bring the market cap up a little bit, bring additional liquidity in. So either way, this is good. This is positive, but it's not what people, the reason why it's not what people wanted right away is because numbers not going up like crazy. It's not. It's kind of like and then also too, we don't even know how much volumes came in. We won't really know more about this for a while. We won't. So anyways, it's going to take some time. Oh, there's my buddies. All right. Now let's go ahead and talk about Canary. So Canary files for PENGU ETF. Canary submitted an S1 form to the SEC for a PENGU ETF and is the first step for an ETF application. PENGU is Penguin's token. It is built on Solana, which is interesting, even though the project is built on Ethereum. And now, you guys, we do have to do a shout out for our partners over at Brave Browser. As most of you guys know, there is a bug on, I believe it's Microsoft, that is taking people's private keys and messing with the Google plugins and all kinds of stuff. That won't happen to you on Brave. It is a privacy browser. So if you're somebody who needs a little bit extra privacy, I highly recommend you guys either going down below to the ref link or going to the QR code there so you can use Brave. It is free and you get to earn BAT tokens, which is freaking awesome. It allows you private search. Also, no ads. They have a built-in AI assistant and a powerful VPN. In addition to that, since we're talking about privacy, I also highly recommend you guys go down to the bottom and you guys try out Silent Swap, which is a DEX. You guys know that I'm partnered with them. We've got the QR code at the top over here. The reason why is our V2 is going to be coming out in a couple months. But the cool thing about V2 is that I don't like my hair today. I don't like it. The cool thing about V2, it's going to incorporate like everything. So if you're just like a Bitcoin person, you can use that, etc. But again, you want to be able to have privacy transactions and it doesn't go through a centralized exchange. So you get custody of your coins the entire time it goes through DEX, and that's powered by Secret Network. So shout out to our partners over at SQUIDGROW and Silent Swap. Now let's get into the next story. The complete presidential address at the Digital Asset Summary. Let's go ahead and get this ramped up over here. Get this ramped up. Ooh. Hold on. This was today. So basically, this is the first time a crypto president has spoke at a crypto conference. The first ever pro-crypto president spoke at a crypto conference. It was at the Blockworks conference over here. And he went ahead and he did a call-in. So let's see exactly what he's talking about. And I will break it down to you and explain what is happening.
A very big hello to everyone at the Blockworks Digital Assets Summit. It's an honor to speak with you about how the United States is going to dominate crypto and the next generation of financial technologies. And it's not going to be easy, but we're way ahead. Just 2 weeks ago, we hosted the first ever White House Digital Asset Summit, bringing together many of the world's top leaders in crypto for a conversation led by our White House AI and crypto czar, David Sachs, who's a fantastic and very brilliant guy. That same week, I signed an order creating the brand new strategic Bitcoin reserve and the U.S. digital asset stockpile, which will allow the federal government to maximize the value of its holdings instead of foolishly selling them for a fraction of their long-term value, which is exactly what Biden did. He got a fraction of their value. We're ending the last administration's regular...
Okay, this is important. The reason why it's important is because even though we had confiscated Bitcoin in the past, under the previous administrations, they were selling it off instead of just holding on to it. I mean, it's okay to say you don't know enough about a technology or know what to do, but if you just had a basic analyst come in and you looked at the growth of Bitcoin, selling it would have been ridiculous. And again, we don't know exactly where the money went. Like if they had to sell it to pay restitution or different things like that, cool, fine, fantastic. But at the same time, it was just a really, really dumb choice. So he's addressing, when he's speaking at the Digital Asset Summit, for Blockworks, he is basically talking about the building a Bitcoin strategic reserve and all the things that he's accomplished. Hold on.
Regulatory war on crypto and Bitcoin, and that includes stopping the lawless Operation Chocolate
2.0, which is essentially undermining people, basically unbanking crypto companies.
2.0. Operation Choke Point went beyond regulation, and I mean far beyond. It was a form of lawfare through government weaponization. Frankly, it was a disgrace. But as of January 20th, 2025, all of that is over. I've also called on Congress to pass landmark legislation creating simple, common sense rules for stablecoins and market structure.
Stablecoins. That's going to be a CBDC. Maybe he says he's not going to do a CBDC, but we're 100% getting a CBDC, whether it's under him or somebody else. And that's a very hot take. I know some people disagree with it, but it is my opinion. It is something that it is a hill for me.
With the right legal framework, institutions large and small will be liberated to invest, innovate, and take part in one of the most exciting technological revolutions in modern history. It's so big, it's, I think, as big as you can get. Pioneers like you will be able to improve our banking and payment system and promote greater privacy, safety, security.
I don't know what they mean by privacy, because when we're talking about crypto, it's on a public ledger for everyone to see. There's no transparency, or there's a lot of transparency there. So that does not check out.
And wealth for American consumers and businesses alike. You will unleash an explosion of economic growth, and with the dollar-backed stablecoin,
they will be dollar-backed. So again, they're going to be tied to the dollar and other assets, just like the current stablecoins that we have. It's going to be interesting to see how it is done and how they plan to keep things private.
You'll help expand.
Because remember, guys, we don't need public servants to help us in any way, shape, or form. We already have access to crypto. It would be cool if the banks, like the banks wouldn't unbank us and different things like that, and that they allowed us to do business there. But at the same time, we don't necessarily need that. We don't need third parties at all. But it would be a little bit more helpful. So I'm okay with the banks and, stepping in, but at the same time, we don't really need it.
The dominance of the U.S. dollar, and many, many years to come, it'll be at the top, and that's where we want to keep it. We only want to keep it at the top, always. I can already see that the energy and passion of the crypto community is the kind of spirit that built our country, and it is exciting to watch as you invent the future of finance. And right here, it's going to be right here in the USA, the good old USA. Together, we will make America the undisputed Bitcoin superpower and the crypto capital of the world. Thank you. Good luck. God bless America.
Woo! Love it. Love it. Yeah, so that was cute. That was cute. Now let's go ahead and listen to this clip about the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. This is Tom Emmer.
The thing you're talking about, two answers. One, yes, there's legislation. I think there are different members that have different versions. I'm pretty sure Nick Begich, our new member from Alaska, is one of them. Who's, he is.
He loves Bitcoin and Mt. Gox, so
I'm telling you,
he's OG.
Nick is great. But so yes, there is legislation, and I believe that before this Congress is done, that will be enacted.
Okay, that's great to hear.
The thing you're talking about.
Okay, so this was over at the Digital Asset Summit, and this is just kind of reiterating that that the United States of America is going to buy 1 million Bitcoin, that the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Bill will be enacted, and it's just a matter of figuring out what funds to use that are not going to cost taxpayers any additional money. Because again, we are in a recession. Another unpopular opinion of mine. And again, we should not be printing money to buy Bitcoin. That defeats a whole entire purpose. I'm all for us holding on to Bitcoin that has been confiscated. But again, if we are going to hold on to Bitcoin, it needs to be done in a way that is not going to impact taxpayer dollars. And we need to probably, deal with other types of, balance our budget a little bit. Okay. But either way, the reason why we're talking about this is I want to remind you guys. I want to remind you guys very, 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 very much so. When it comes to Bitcoin, Bitcoin is a finite asset. And the fact we have governments that want to buy it, the fact that we have so many people across everywhere that wants to buy a finite asset means number goes up. The fact that BlackRock wrote a research paper about it, that matters. The fact that more and more people are getting interested in this, come on. This is why I'm planning on not selling any of my Bitcoin right now. I want to see how high this thing is going to go. And again, not financial advice. All right, let's get into the next story. Bo Hines, U.S. will acquire as much Bitcoin as we can get. Should we listen to this? Yeah, let's listen to it. Why not? We're going to go ahead and
200,000 BTC. That's worth about $17 billion. Strategy CEO Michael Saylor is suggesting that the U.S. acquire up to 25% of the Bitcoin supply by 2035. What would be the target amount for?
I don't want Michael Saylor to comment on America acquiring Bitcoin. I really don't. The reason why is I appreciate his passion for Bitcoin, but again, he's not like a normal person. He's got a different wealth status as us, and I don't want the American people getting wrecked. That's all.
For the United States, in your view?
Well, I get asked this question a lot, and I think the answer to that, like I said at the summit yesterday, is as much as we can possibly get, so long as it's in budget neutral ways that don't cost the taxpayer a dime. I think.
Thank you, Bo. Thank you. And I agree with this 100%. Just as long as in tax neutral ways where it does not cost taxpayers a dime. You know what? Buy as much Bitcoin as you want if you're going to do it this way. But if you're going to print money or take out debt or collateralize loans and buy more Bitcoin, I don't want it. Abuse the current financial system, not Bitcoin and not crypto.
We have a lot of high IQ people in the building that are working on this, and folks over at the Treasury Office and folks over at Commerce, working with the internal working group that was set up in the first Digital Assets EO. We'll be able to come up with ways to accumulate more really over the course of the next few years and beyond that. Look, we view Bitcoin as being digital gold. That's why we set up the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve in the way that we did, right? Bitcoin is a commodity. It's not a security. As our AI and cryptos, our David Sachs likes to say, it has the immaculate conception, meaning that there's no issuer. It has intrinsic stored value that's traditionally accepted, and we feel like it's in the best interest of Americans to hold on to this asset long term and accumulate as much as we can get. That's why we akin this to digital gold and talked about building the digital Fort Knox for the United States. And you mentioned the Bitcoin that we have possession of. We've actually been in possession of nearly 400,000 Bitcoin. We sold roughly half of that prematurely at about, I think it was close to $370 million is what we sold it for. If we would have held on to that, it would have been worth $17 billion today.
Would have been worth $17 billion. We sold the bottom.
just goes to show you how important this asset is and what we can do with it to benefit the American people. One thing that I've said repeatedly throughout the media circuit is that I think it's really nice that we have a president that's actually looking to accumulate assets for Americans rather than take it away, unlike the last regime that we had here at the White House. But we feel very confident about our plan. We feel confident about the internal working group that was set up in that first EO, and I think we're going to have tremendous ideas on how to.
Love it. Send it all to the moon. And since we're talking about that, oh, this is so cute. I love elephants. But it looks like gold prices have hit all new time high. This was yesterday, though. And then let's get into Coinbase. So Coinbase becomes Ethereum's largest node operator with 11% stake. Okay, we've got BlackRock and shout out to Trumpites 2024 for the $9.99 super chat. I appreciate it. I'm going to get myself something delicious today. I've got mango. I've got avocado. I've got a little bit of steak. I've got salsa. I got celery. I might treat myself. Actually, I'm going to save it for tomorrow because me and Lo, we're going to do either going to do Chili's because we've been eating the mozzarella sticks from there. Sorry, I know. Once a week is okay to spoil yourself. So we're going to either do that and then we're going to do crumble. We get the mini ones because I want to try the Lucky Charm. So I'll use that to get us crumble. Thank you so much, Trumpites. 2024. I appreciate it. All right, let's get back into it. So Ethereum's not going to fail because of companies like Coinbase and BlackRock. So Coinbase becomes Ethereum's largest node operator with 11% stake. That is 3.84 million Ethereum, worth $6.8 billion. Coinbase surpassed Lido as individual node operators, but Lido is still the largest staking platform. So again, if Coinbase is holding this much Ethereum, it's not going to fail. It won't. That's just my personal opinion. Coinbase is like the BlackRock of crypto. Now, this story over here, Coinbase sold 12,652 ETH in the fourth quarter, Standard Charter says. And it was worth about, that's when Ethereum was about at $4,000, which is amazing. So basically, they went ahead and they sold the top, and they're probably going to accumulate more or use it for other things. But apparently, according to this article, it says it was sold for operational expenses, including salaries, taxes, and reinvestments. Coinbase bought ETH quarter three. Thank you. Bye-bye. They bought Ethereum in quarter three of $2,500 each and sold in quarter four $4,000, following a profit maximizing strategy. Base generates ETH from sequencer fees, with 80% of revenue estimated as profit. Over the past 3 quarters, the net ETH sales totaled $1,558, suggesting strategic selling rather than accumulation. Coinbase denies engaging in regular ETH trading, stating Ethereum held for investment grew 20% in 2024. This is amazing. This is amazing. Amazing. The reason why it's amazing is, number one, they're making money with Base. They use it to pay for salaries, all kinds of stuff, and they're taking profit. If this is true what Standard Charter says, this is exactly what you're supposed to do. I would have followed the trading strategy because I could have bought ETH. I'm still a profit though. But anyways, this is what you do. You have to sell sometimes. You got to pay overhead expenses, and they're probably doing it with a tax professional and whatnot. So love to see it. All right, now we got some this is the PENGU ETF, and this is from Kraken. So Kraken is acquiring NinjaTrader for $1.5 billion, locking in the largest TradFi crypto deal ever. Another huge milestone on a road to become the world's go-to platform for trading anything, anytime, anywhere. I like Kraken. Been using it a lot. But again, this just kind of goes to show you how that TradFi is becoming a big part of crypto, and that ETFs will be incredibly important. So the acquisition positions Kraken as a 24/7 platform for both traditional and crypto futures trading. NinjaTrader, founded in 2003, serves nearly 2 million traders and is a CFTC-registered futures commission merchant. Kraken gains access to U.S. crypto futures and derivatives, expanding NinjaTrader globally using its licenses in the UK, EU, and Australia. I hope retail investors are included in this. I doubt it, and that's why it's so important to remove that law. And I just kind of want to talk about this really quickly. Where is it? All right. So BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says that being more nationalistic in the U.S. is going to cause elevated inflation. So what he means by saying this, he's saying this because this nationalistic is regarding tariffs. So he says if you're supporting tariffs and these types of things, it's going to create higher levels of inflation. So he's just kind of piggybacking off of what Powell said, but he's saying it in a different way. Don't let him buy your Bitcoin. Anyways, you guys, on that note, I got to get going. I got to do some stuff. In addition, watch my video at 2 p.m. PST. I'm going to talk to you about why altcoin season is coming. In addition to that, I will be live tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. PST. So make sure you guys watch that too. and make sure you subscribe with all alerts set. Sending you all love and light. Shout out to XRP Army, the Bitcoin Army, the Ethereum people, all of you amazing people on Twitter and TikTok and YouTube and Rumble and my babes and Twitch and all kinds of stuff. Bye-bye.